A quick update on the new Space Dwarves today. We've got a rather nice size comparison between the leagues of Votann and a Primaris Space Marine, and a few more interesting details of new lore on the faction. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where today it's another quick update on the leagues of Votann release, a rather fun size comparison that Games Workshop just posted on Warhammer community, and a few interesting snippets of lore as well. The thing that I found the most interesting was a direct size comparison between the leagues of Votann and the Primaris Marines. I mean, I guess we knew they were going to be fairly diminutive, and you could kind of gauge their size by those Ironkin Pioneers that Games Workshop's been releasing for Necromunda. But I think it is quite helpful to see an actual Votann model in comparison to a model that most people know the scale of. It kind of helps you imagine a bit more how they're going to look ranked up on the table. I guess it isn't that much of a newsflash that dwarves are short, but it does look like they're going to be the faction in 40k that have the smallest standing base troops. I think literally all of the other army's standard troopers will be standing a little bit taller than them. I guess the only things that they'll be able to tower over are things like Orc Gretchen. As you'd expect, they do seem quite small but really quite round and chunky, and the weapons that they bear seem really quite oversized for how big they are. Still makes me think that they're going to be punching at least fairly hard. According to the article, they'll be standing at around 1.4 meters normally, so around 4'7" for people who work in Imperial. And I do find it kind of interesting given the fact that they have a strength and toughness 4 profile. I must admit, I think if most people saw the size comparison to Space Marines and things, they might wonder why they're hitting just as hard as them and taking firepower just as well. I guess given the entire dwarf aesthetic, I'm not too surprised that their toughness is a bit bigger than you might have expected, but I think if I'd probably seen the model just from fresh, I might have expected something like strength 3 rather than 4. Admittedly, that is only half the picture though for how well models fight in 40k. Space Marines get 2 wounds and these guys only get 1, so in reality they are going to be far harder to shift. And on the attack, these guys will be hitting with 2 attacks, but Primaris Marines will be hitting with 3 with Shock Assault most of the time. I strongly suspect that they might get the same treatment as the Chaos Legionaries and go up to a base 3 attacks when they get their new book. Let me know what you think of the size comparison though. Could you imagine fielding entire squads of these diminutive little techie warriors and putting down some mass Votann infantry? They've also given us a little bit of new lore for the faction as well. First up, they make some rather interesting observations about void armor. Supposedly this is superior to Imperial power armor, and it's what most of the Votann wear. They say that it's made of a magniferrite weave and have a whole load of shield generators built in attached to a void suit, so I'm going to guess that means it'll work in the vacuum. I do find the assertion that it's better than Imperial power armor an interesting one though, seeing as Imperial power armor appears to give you a 3+ armor save, and the void armor appears to give you a 4+. It does feel like a fairly direct example of why just about every second faction in 40k has to claim that they have the best of something, maybe. They might have other interesting defensive rules though. I don't know whether they get an invul save at base, maybe a 6+ like the Admech. I suppose that could represent shield generators if they do really have them. And I'm sure their heavier armour is going to be very impressive indeed. I'd be amazed if leagues of Votann exo-armoured warriors aren't going to be pretty hard to shift. Otherwise, just a few small snippets of lore from the article. First up, they often say that Votann function a little bit like Admech in the way that they often like to go travelling to find out new secrets and details for their race. Warhammer community says that their aim is to all live a full life, which sounds very nice for them, and maybe a little bit out of keeping with the 40k setting. But maybe it's a bit more dystopian when the reason for living a full life is to drag all your knowledge back and upload it to an ancestor core whenever society is done with you. I do kind of wonder if they might be setting up the leagues of Votann a bit like the Tau, maybe a society that looks pretty ideal from the outside, but has a whole load of rather dark vibes when you dig a bit below the surface. Also, they say that one of their common mottos is the ancestors are always watching, something no doubt to inspire the space dwarves onto greater feats or not cower in the face of a terrifying foe. The words are oddly capitalised in the article, and I kind of wonder whether that might manifest itself as an actual in-game rule, maybe a bit like "and they shall know no fear" for the Adeptus Astartes. In any case, a few more interesting details there. Let me know what you think down in the comments as always. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, or I'll certainly keep the regular 40k things coming with new videos out just about every day. I'll certainly cover any more news of the Leagues of Votann when we get it. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, feel free to check out either the Patreon page or my Element Games affiliate link down in the video description. Both of those help to support the channel. And an absolutely massive thank you for listening. I'll hope to see you guys next time.